Welcome home, gamer. Welcome to Weekend Tournament Asia number 69. Measim versus Shiroha might be a really fun one to start with. Host a tournament, be a cash prize, open to all, tournament with probably a qualification stage and a finals stage. More details, including the tournament name, cash prize amount, qualification details, and more will be announced in the coming weeks. Welcome to Weekend Tournament Asia number 69. Yes, it's the tournament with the funny number. Round one, we have Measim, one of the game devs, here on near side blue, playing as a marksman specialist with marksman and sledgehammer. Shiroha on the far side, quick supply specialist, fangs and sledges to start. The quick supply specialist, extra 200 on round one, 100 supplies in round one. For Measim, it's the marksman specialist. If you missed the patch notes, marksman specialist, the marksman now arrives on round 2, and the level 3 marksman on round 2. We've seen the way that Measim likes to play a kind of a carry marksman build with just a line of really strong marksmen. There'll be range, there'll be elite marksmen, there'll be quick reload on them. Hey! Welcome, Epic Mass. How you doing? The first time that I have cast a Weekend Tournament Asia. Very much looking forward to it. One of my update hopes for the channel for year 2 is going to be to cast the Asia tournaments live as they happen. And of course to update all of these to YouTube. I'm looking forward to scoping out the plays. We will get into it. Measim takes the laser sights. Shiroha, give it a little bit of thought. So for Measim, we talked about it, it's going to be this line of back marksman. I would expect laser sight to wind up on the level 3 marksman. Get him engaged in the fight a little bit earlier. Measim's also adding a Stormcaller in kind of the standard position. And we've added he took the 2 crawlers behind tower last time. Takes the extra caller out here. A little bit interesting. He's starting strong on the right with Orange Man proper on the left. Personally, I would have covered Orange Man with these 2 units so that there was a lot less chance of giving away the Orange Man hit point, or the Orange Man experience. Don't know how experience works. When a unit is killed, the level 1 purchase price times level times level times 2 minus 1 as the amount of experience given out. So a level 1 unit gives out, a level 1 marksman when killed gives out 100 experience. A level 2 gives out 300, and a level 3 gives out 500. Shiroha's answer to the line of marksmen was to run something down the middle. Kind of gets a big kill zone structured out of this by pulling all of Measim's units towards it. One of the really key things you can do is controlling opponent's unit positioning by controlling the aggro. And that's done. He's also made sure to add some fangs They're coming in a little bit later to tank some of the late marksman shots. So bought as much time as he could. And as we kind of mentioned, Shiroha won on the left, so gained the experience for killing Orange Man over there. Lost on the right, Measim winning right side. So 2 rounds in, they've each won around 38-30 to 38-60. You know, obviously nothing definitive at this stage of the game. Measim is going to take the Wasp Swarm. Probably comes through this pretty quickly. It's also added a storm on the far left. 2 storms on the far left. It is thinking about where to put that Wasp Swarm. Shiroha still hasn't made the choice. Finally does. One of the things Shiroha's doing there is making sure he remembers all the other items. Wants to know that he's got any spell covered. Really thinking things through. For our choices, he's taken a Wasp. There it is. He's going to run the Wasp kind of straight up the corner and over. Unfortunately, it's going to run into this, but he gave it the laser sight, so it should win this encounter if it's not locked onto other units. Did get locked onto that storm first, or a bunch of the wasps got locked onto the storm first. Also, a couple of them had been killed by this marksman, so that cool little mobile beacon is not going to work out. There was a second wasp swarm that doesn't have the mobile beacon and all that. Coming over on the left, they're getting shot by marksmen. See the poor marksmen get exposed. They wind up out in front with no chaff in front of them. So down they go, and this round, Shiroha's with 3 surviving Stormcallers. Hit point damage, of course, is related to the sale value, or the level 1 purchase value of the unit that survives. So 1 surviving marksman will do 100 hit points to the board, regardless of its level. And a surviving storm, since there's 4 storms in a pack, each surviving storm does 50, 100 divided by 4. We get the unit reinforcements now on round 4. If you don't know how unit reinforcements work, every triplet of rounds, you get a reinforcement pack of units. That unlocks the unit, kind of gives you a force accelerator. First group is guaranteed to happen between rounds 2 through 4, so 2, 3, 4. Then a group will happen in 5, 6, 7. A group will happen in 8, 9, 10. And a group will happen in 11, 12, 13. Tournament matches end after 13 rounds, with whichever player has the lowest health losing. Highest health wins. Obviously, if you drop somebody below 0, 2 or below 0 before the 13th round, then that person loses at that point. So we've sold out of this for wasp attack. Didn't actually own any other wasps. We hadn't added anything. Shiroha took the Mustangs, the Typhoons. For Measim, he's got a level 3 on the right, level 1 on the left, and again, I would have preferred to stack the level 3 with Marksman. Note that he did give the level 3 the laser sights. Instead of having a 100 meter range, this big level 3 Typhoon has 120 meter range and wins from the right to the left. This is the first big round damage that we've seen from either player. Measim drops Shiroha to 2692. Measim takes efficient small unit manufacturing. So it's a 350 cost investment, 300 that you spent. You didn't take the 50 from skipping either. 350 cost. It's going to take you 8 units purchased to earn a profit. So you kind of expect if somebody's doing that, they should be taking mass recruitment to sort of make up some of their monies. And that is exactly what Measim has done. He's also going to run this mobile beacon set of crawlers to ensure that there's a kind of a pull over here. I'm going to take Shiroha's ranged Stormcallers, 220 meter range. We're just going to distract a whole bunch of shots. Try to reinforce winning on this side. And his backline of marksmen are all up to level 2. So what we've wound up with here is a pretty classic starts of a range war build, right? We have the back line of chaff, we've got the back line of marksmen, we've got the stormcallers, chaff clear, which, you know, some traditionally would have been a Vulcan, but now in this particular run, Measim is using the Typhoons as his chaff clear. Note, the sledges are healing, so the idea here is they get out in front of the Typhoons. Slow sledges, come, please catch up. They get out in front, they tank, they heal. Even if they, you know, they've got the extra 30% hit points, so they're going to take a little bit of additional shots to kill. And the idea here is that they're going to be tanking a whole bunch of Stormcaller shots and then healing from them before the next volley arrives. You can see how that's working on the left with that set of sledges gets all the way back up almost to full. One sledge killed on the left. And Measim beats Shiroha again in round 5. 3,600 now to 1,300. Shiroha can't really afford another round that goes that poorly. But we get the round 6 unit drop. This is the second part of, I should have explained about the way that unit drops work. They can't happen on back-to-back rounds. When there was a round 4 drop, there could not be one on round 5. But there could be one on round 6 and 7. Scorpion, Vulcan, Fort, and Rhino are the offers. Shiroha has taken the level 3 Scorpion, and Measim has taken the Vulcan. Going to be a second Vulcan added, and the Vulcans get range. So all that chaff is going to arrive in burned early by ranged Vulcan, and anything that's tough enough to kind of block the Vulcan, the Typhoons will have a different range. They'll shoot other chaff that gets in behind it. For Shiroha, we have a Scorpion ranged. We add any other Scorps. Yes, I made it. First ever Asia tournament that I've cast. Figured I would add that to the repertoire. Thank you. Welcome, Zach. So Shiroha, it needs to change something here, and added the oil to slow a whole bunch of things down. Welcome, Mr. Dad. Hello, Dark Cigar. Good evening from Asia. Indeed. It is dark o'clock here in California. You're watching Rat? Nice. Yeah, I almost cast that Rat match. How did he do? Unrivaled Super Hottie is a really tough opponent. All right, for Shiroha, the storm, or the scorpions, ranged scorpions, able to handle the giants. The oil not lit on fire, right? So because the Vulcans were ranged, nothing actually reached the oil to get lit on fire. It's going to be present to slow this typhoon down again. It's not 5 in the morning, it's like 5:16 in the morning. And I have I have a big old pot of coffee ready to go. Zach says, I played a great game with Bearlag before the tourney. I have to go for a replay review, please, at some point later today. Excellent. I look forward to seeing that one. At this point, we're going to round 7. Both players should be thinking about loans. Why? Because it costs you 100 to take a loan, but you get the 200 advantage this round. So if the game ends on round 7, you're plus 200. If the game ends on round 8, you're plus 100. If somehow the game gets to round 9 and you take the loan on 7, 8, 9, you're at plus 0. We've got 4 lines of... with hiding chat there. We've got 4 big bubbles for Measim that's going to protect against this ion beam. Shiroha has not bubbled. There's one. I can't go out for a walk and cast for you guys. Just not capable. The ion beam very nicely blocked here by the shields. It does get through some stuff, but most of Measim's units have survived. He played around that nicely. Ion beam back here, blocked in part by Stormcaller. Blocked in part by the shields, so most of the key units survived. You can see again that Shiroha's units, the Scorpion level 4 with laser sight is just dominating this board right now. I don't think anything left shoots up. So these 3 wasps get the entirety of the round to try and kill units, and both players are going to take some hit point damage. For Shiroha, not very much done. Dropped to 1310. For Measim, dropped to 264. If those wasps had not managed to kill that last scorpion, this game would be over. But it is not. We get a round 8. Measim takes another wasp swarm. Obviously, top supply, renamed to super supply enhancement, and you can see the new art. It's all part of the 090 release. Nano repair and super heavy armor. The things I would imagine Shiroha is considering. Also the wasp swarm. Possibility, it's a lot less useful for him because of the typhoons. So he's not going to throw wasps out onto this board, but needs to be aware of it to play around it. It did sell out of one pack. Right, he took it to play it defensively. Did sell a pack of Mustangs. Sold the other one as well, so not really relying on the Mustangs for anti-air. Alright, we're going to go with Triple Wasp as our anti-air. Make sure they arrive late. They don't run into the typhoons. Note that Measim has added the Typhoon homing missiles. They have a 180 meter range, and they do 675 damage per missile per level. Unlike any other missile in the game, they level up damage as the unit levels up. This level 3 Typhoon doing extra damage. Well, thank you, Dark Cigar. Yes. 8 o'clock I will get to take a walk, probably. Measim also adding a whole bunch of flames on the ground, trying to kill off the chaff. Added incendiary bomb to the storms. The late arriving wasps show up after the typhoons are dead. They're going to work on marksman. On the other side of the board, late arriving wasps getting the job done. Took the right side tower for Measim. We're gonna get the classic storm versus marksman end to a round. One surviving stormcaller. Hello, aren't you pretty? Good work, buddy. Still not enough to finish Measim off. He's down to 214. Shiroha does not get the finish. Heavy armor for Measim. You've got nano repair, extra attack, and tank prod line are the other options. Gonna see what we get choices wise for Measim. This Vulcan has leveled up to level 2. Now it gets heavy armor. It's got 150-odd thousand hit points. And this line of marksman is coming alive now. Last round range, this round elite marksman. They're going to be doing a ton of damage. Also adding a typhoon. I would imagine this is late arriving. Yeah, 2 typhoons picked up to arrive late. They're right up on the back row. Just to ensure they're not part of that initial set of kills. Hello, hello, Yakamara. Good afternoon to you. Shiroha has added siege mode to the Scorpions. Lowers their attack speed from 4.5 seconds to 6 seconds, but guaranteeing that they are doing extra damage at extra range. Basically trying to keep them out of the range of the missiles, I would imagine. 235 meter range. Also, Shiroha adds 3 more wasps. These ones were elite recruited at level 2 last round. The new ones are recruited at level 1. But again, these are all just supposed to tank the marksman as late arriving wasp chaff. Double shot siege would be fun to try, yes. Because that's something where all of a sudden you're dropping a zillion damage at range. You can get them up to 4-tech with double shot acid siege. The second shot does so much extra damage from the acid. But the reduced rate of fire is the problem with siege mode, right? Yeah. Double shot with acid tears factories apart. It's kind of the canonical answer. But Measim has 1 round 9. The marksman line coming alive. This is a late scaling build, and it had time to scale. You can see a whole bunch of them are gonna level. And this is why Measim loves this build. We get the round 10 unit drop. Finally get the late unit drop. This is a critical decision for both players. Measim takes the level 4 Wraith. There's not a ton of good anti-air yet. On Shiroha's board, there has not been a good anti-air single target. Right now, all of Shiroha's single target damage is on the ground. Ground-based only. So the Wraith's a really good choice for Measim. Shiroha's going to have to play around it. 2 level 4 Rhinos, 2 level 4 Sabers, and 3 level 5 Arcs are the other options. And this thing is going to be armored. So it's going to just tank anything that the Fangs can put out. It'll tank a bunch of what the Wasps put out, but not everything. And it's designed to arrive super late, alongside a level 1. For Shiroha, took shield on the Wasps. They're gonna make sure they arrive very late as well. Oh, and gave himself a field maintenance level 4 Wraith. So a field maintenance Wraith should outlast the armored Wraith. We are into the round where both players are minus 100 on the loans, but we talked about that from 789. But at this point, you'd have You'd have probably lost the match in previous round if you hadn't been head on economy at the time. Whichever player was not taking those loans would have had such a disadvantage. Armored Wraith, by the way, works very, very well against Typhoon, so if that's what you're facing, would have been a good choice. But here you can see the Wraith moves slower. It's got a 12 meter per second versus the Wasp's much faster speeds. We are 16 meters per second. So it took a long time. Most of the Wasps died so long before the Wraith arrived. But now the Wraith is getting the job done. The other two Wraiths on the other side get stuck on Scorpions. Shiroha finally able to finish it out. Both players taking damage. Shiroha down to 210 hit points. And Measim defeated. Well played, Shiroha. Very nice battle indeed. So, our weekend tournament Asia is underway. Let's go find out what else has happened. For Measim's build, we're going to just give you the top down real quick. You can see the chaff build, including very late arriving Fangs. The Fangs having portable shield, really to tank the shots from the Scorpions for as long as possible. But then the Scorpion with 235 meter range, the Stormcaller also at 235 meters because of range and range off of tower. So, they chewed through these guys pretty quickly. Outranged anything that Measim was throwing down other than the Marksman by quite a lot. The level 6 Marksman over here had 225 meter range. But it really became a air war battle at the end with the Wasps, Wraiths, and techs on the Wasps turning out to be a bit of the difference for Shiroha. Really fun. Okay, around the league, what do we have? Zemp has beaten Flix, Steelsane over Krog, HD Stu Sour beats ICD, Mathismite with the upset win over Argonier, Jeremiah loses their round one, Rat beat Unrivaled Super Hottie, as Mr. Dad reported to us, Alpha beats Coin, Jota beats Arknights, Dillo took the first round loss as well. We saw Shiroha beat Measim. mz.Philomatiko beats Woot. This is Blue Hair, the legend, beats Illuminati. Skay beat Jimmy Jeeb. Adoznokt beat Professor Shadoff. Hoiberg upsets Rooster. Nicely done, Hoiberg. And we're into round two. Round two in tournaments, you're matching the top player against the bottom winner. So whoever was ranked like 67 and 68 coming into this one is we're going to be up in the facing the top one. So this match should be pretty one-sided. Steelsane should have an easy time of it against mostly harmless. We'll look for something interesting. Jota versus Salt Monkey could be a lot of fun. Our very own Zach going up against Jota. Bearlike is streaming on the Play Mechabellum channel with Math is Might as his opponent. Platonic up against the Who Doesn't Have Some Emotions. Tungdil versus Skay. It gives you two Germans. They will be part of the same team for the Triple Threat Tricksters. I do want to jump in for Jota against Zach. Welcome to round two of Weekend Tournament European number 69. Jota will be a Farseer specialist. Farseer, of course, the new unit just released with patch 090. If you have not heard the news, Mechabellum has a launch date. We will be releasing on September 26th, going with the 1.0 build at that. So Jota's Farseers Farseer build will have arc lights and Stormcallers, and looks like a range war build. Salt Monkey, a Brawler Steel Ball Giant Specialist. Brawler Steel Ball looks like it would be a aggro pack. So Jota is playing an aggro defense, vertical storms to kind of tank things as they're coming in, and arcs in front of each tower, crawlers right behind tower. So he's trying to get. The idea here is if Zach changes his mind, and he does, to come out with an aggro push, you should see units get pulled across the middle. Both of the storms will be able to be involved in it because they're going to be pulled into the aggro, and the arc lights should go that direction. This arc light will not aggro into it, and it's actually kind of clever because it's going to pull up the crawler over. It's going to defend against this crawler. Again, it's also going to have this crawler defending. You would, if this guy were 3 over, it would be guaranteed to go off in this direction instead of going forward. No. Hit point and match round don't affect MMR or anything like that. I don't believe they're even part of the combat power calculation, but I've never really understood the combat power calculation. I know Bearlick was pretty proud of it. But it kind of combines experience and an MMR-like component to it. So beating somebody with a higher combat power raises your combat power more. You gain extra combat power. Well, combat power was designed to monotonically increase, where MMR is designed to be relatively flat. And the way I have understood this from Bearlike, I believe he's announced this, is that for seasons, which have been announced, what they're going to do is reset combat power every season. They'll have a new combat power listing, and then MMR will remain kind of a permanent measure of your overall skill. We know Zach loves his Heaven, as he calls it, the first Vulcan specifically to hit the board, and he took the heavy armor, so he's giving 1 set of steel balls extra hit points and clearing out the chaff out of the way with the Vulcan. We talked in theory about the way to run a steel ball crawler push yesterday during the anniversary stream. We are celebrating our 1 year anniversary. Thank you, Larius. It says, oh my gosh, do you ever sleep, Amaroq? Weren't you streaming just 5 hours ago? I think I stopped about 8 hours ago. I did go to sleep. I have a huge pot of coffee because it's early AM for me. But did want to add the Asia tournaments to the channel's repertoire of coverage now that we have a release date. I want to start getting all of the tournaments to YouTube, so we have kind of the same coverage for all 3. I don't want to be hyper-focusing on just the Western tournaments. We get a whole bunch of players and different play styles in the Asia that I don't always get the chance to see. I'm really looking forward to it. We talked about the importance of chaff clear in the steel ball push, and Zach opted not to take chaff clear in round 1. So he ran the steel ball push without the arc light that would have made it work, instead choosing to add the flank screening Fang on the far side. Added the chaff clear with the Vulcan on round 2. Here on round 3, he's taking a Rhino drop. So wouldn't be something he normally takes. And it looks like it's going to be Rhino, Rhino, Rhino. So corner, corner, and top corner. And you can expect him at some point, if he needs to, he'll add Whirlwind so that these Rhinos just go through whatever flank screen crawlers there are. This one he knows exists, but right now these aren't going to get stuck on chaff yet. At least these guys. This one back here, it's going to pull some of this chaff. For Jota, we've got the Phoenix flank attacking the back unexposed tower back there. So Jota trying to get a quick tower debuff. Does win that, debuffs this, and that's going to cost Zach a lot in terms of these engagements. The Phoenix, of course, gets there before the Rhino because of being faster. Not being faster, but having 120 meter range. So it gets to the tower quicker. And he's also got the level 3 Phoenix. So the level 1 is up here and exposed. He's probably going to sell out of that one. But he does have the level 3 as well, for big single target damage, and that helped defend the Rhino drop. First in the corner, then got it back and outside, and then it turned around to help with the steel balls with the Rhino, etc. during the debuff, as it turned out. So that worked out super well for Jota. Back down to 2,000 hit points. Zach takes the absorption module. We've seen him that loves to put that on a Vulcan, and there, in fact, it is on the far side Vulcan. Efficient tech research or supply enhancement. You're debating those. Efficient supply enhancement is generally better. You tend to have more rounds than techs, but if you haven't teched anything at all and it's round 4, you might actually have more techs than rounds. So that would have been the things Jota was thinking about. But also, if he just skips it and tries to accelerate the game, maybe he can end this quickly. So if Zach were trying to play a long-term econ game, Jota, by skipping either of those, has 150 extra to spend on this round. You can see he has added the Phoenix and Farseer to the back corner to handle this Rhino. A couple of crawlers will go out and tank for them, and they'll come around and get engaged up front. Did, in fact, sell out of the Phoenix from the back line. Adds one here to engage with this Rhino early, and has a missile for slowing things down. Zach added a pair of level 1 Wasps behind towers to ensure that he's got those covered for the Wasp or Phoenix screen, and they're fast enough to get back up and involved in the fight later. Of course, Wasps into Farseer. Farseer shoots air-to-ground missiles as well as air-to-air missiles. So the Farseers really are a pretty good Wasp screen. And Jota does have them positioned to cover Wasps. And as you can see, the late arrivals, even the late arriving Wasps, get torn up by the Farseers. Unfortunately, healing Vulcan survives very nicely for Zach, but the air game is lost. Jota winning from the air. Zach dropped to 588 hit points. Jota at a full 3792. Storm for both. This is probably GG's. Storm for Zach. Hold on. Orbital Javelin for Jota. My bad. Orbital Javelin is going to take out the double-teched Vulcan here. But Storm can buy a lot of damage, and if it takes out the level 3, especially if Zach gets a lucky strike on the level 3 Phoenix early on, it could make a big difference in the way this round goes. From Zach's perspective, I'd have wanted to see this Storm positioned just a little bit deeper to put the Phoenix kind of more in the center for better chances of killing it, and to ensure that my own units weren't. But Jota going for, I will Orbital Javelin, the 50,000 hit point Vulcan. Orbital does 70,000 hit points. That thing is just going to die. So is the marksman it creates. And then Jota relying on missiling out a lot of the chaff on the front corner. See how effective the Storm is. It gets the... Oh, it got the high-level Phoenix early. And has done a ton of damage. Of course, the armored steel balls survive to get to tower. Zach is going to have some surviving Wasps on that side. Only thing left that can kill the Wasps is 2 packs of Phoenix on the right. There's a whole bunch of chaff out front with the crawlers that will tank individual shots. Down to just a couple of wasps, though. And Zach is going to be out of air by the time... And again, we talked about it, the Farseer's shooting air, really costing Zach there. And the Orbital Javelin, enough to take out a key unit. 3, 4, 5.5. Just enough to knock Zach out of the tournament after round 2 of the tournament, after 5 rounds. Rough. Jota, a very good player, of course, and you can follow Jota on Twitch. Jota getting the job done. The Lightning Storm, not quite enough to turn it for Zach, and losing the linchpin itemized Vulcan was enough to do it. So what could Zach have done to avoid that? Just recognizing that that's the key unit. He's got this Vulcan leveled, so it had 80,000, and recognizing that the Orbital Javelin was up, and sell this, spend 50 for, not for field recovery, spend 50 to mass recruit, and buy it somewhere else on the board. That fits the same role. Like you can pay 50 to teleport a key unit if you need to. I suspect, because this is what would have happened to me, I would have seen the Storm, been so excited about the Storm that I placed it, and then expected opponents to be placing the Storm to kill my Wasps and my backline units. I'd have just expected to see the Storm right here. I don't think I would have thought of moving the Vulcan either, which is why it was such a good play from Jota. He might have expected there to be shields here, although maybe he didn't, because he threw down the 2 missiles to kill Chaff. Zach didn't play around that either. Here or here. Yes, Baum QC. Units get a refund when selling. If you click on the unit, you can see all the various stats. Down in the bottom left is the sell price. So the level 1 Stormcaller sells for full value at 200 in a 1v1 game. The level 1 Vulcan would have sold for a full 400. You'd also have the item back to put on a different unit. And then the level 2 Vulcan you would sell for 600. If you're in a 4-player free-for-all, then it'll be half the value, which is a lot more expensive. So Zach took these rhinos and was selling out of them to fund the rest of his fight. I was putting him behind in deploys, which Jota used to advantage by having the Phoenix alive. I do want to see what Adoznokt is doing, because I've never seen them. More coffee for your streamer. What are we looking at here? Adoznokt is in an aggro steel ball push with double-teched wasps. Wasps, of course, get hurt a ton by storms. Who is the most aggressive mecha player? A Finnish player named Munkst would probably qualify for that title. Rat is very close. Probably a very close second. Rat, I absolutely love Rat in terms of the way that he thinks about the board. He adds a whole lot of this kind of mobile beacon play, manipulating opponents, aggro. His positioning is so good. It's also really tough to learn from him when you're at the 700 MMR level, right? He is legitimately seeing things that your eye isn't yet trained to see, and thinking about details that your 700 MMR player is just not even there yet, right? It's most unorthodox is probably Rat. That's what I was trying to say. And in particular, Rat is playing such an unorthodox style that he's making choices that a lot of the other top players would not, from an economic perspective, wouldn't even consider. And Rat is just like, I'm not about the economy. All I care is about winning the last round. Sometimes he'll be focusing on putting the hit point damage on. every now and then he will sit back and play the economic game and just make a tremendous amount of it. But a lot of times he'll rely on other players having... He'll rely on the other player taking the long-term econ view, where Rat is taking some short-term econ plays and trying to win with it. Yes, a meta trailblazer, absolutely, because he'll find something, some odd combination that nobody else is playing. Make it work. Alright, adoznokt. I think I like adoznokt. Adoznokt is playing Foon Ball. Ball Foon, let's go! This is one of my favorite combos, Typhoon and Steel Ball. For me, the way I play it is a range enhancement on the Steel Balls to ensure that they sit in the bubbles back here. And adoznokt might add that next round if Neopulse successfully defends this round. But even with the Storm taking out the Wasps last round on this side, adoznokt was able to get the W. Round win, Neopulse down to 1193. Mr. Dad asks me to define my playstyle. I will play this Balfoon aggro. I will play from standard and try to win a range war. So, I am trying to play both standard and aggro. For a long time, I was an aggro player, a straight aggro player. adoznokt getting it done. Again, first time I've seen them, they're a 2,200 MMR, so I knew I'd recognized the name. Very nice work. Just everything is tanking for the Wasps, really. The Wasps are the carry with range and ground specialization. Range, ground, and energy shield or aerial. So if your choice was to throw down aerial spec Wasps as your counter, got aerial to get back on an even footing. If he needs to against spells, he can throw down energy shield. Range and ground. Ground specialization is probably the key to Wasps really popping off, because it increases attack against ground targets by 200%. Everything else here is tanking Wasps. This is really a Wasp aggro. I mean, it's got level 3 Steel Balls as well. But it's Wasp aggro with Steel Ball as the tank. Typhoon's added as a additional tank later. It's not really Balfoon, it's more Wasp Ball. Ball Wasp. But the Typhoons is a late opportunistic add. Okay, so mz.philomatiko beats Dionys. Sakura beats Huiberg. Math is Might beat Bearlike. Akowl and Alpha are in a close one that's about to end. Who doesn't have emotions gets the win against Platonic. Obviously, Blue Hair. Wakayasu beats Must Die. Skay over Tungdil. The Vulcan into Marksman into Fang was the way to go in that. Welcome to round 3 of Weekend Tournament Asia number 69. Rat versus adoznokt. And we just saw adoznokt playing a Steel Ball Wasp push. Rat, of course, we've been talking about. Who is the most unorthodox player? Let's see him in action. Rat, of course, streaming under Surrey EZ. On Twitch and on YouTube. He's a longtime member of the community. He's part of the curator program, so he's been able to have some direct interactions with Bearlike. Organized the Mecha Masters tournament. Helped organize, did that Mecha Monarchs page with all the unit counters, etc. So he's very much a forefront of the thinking of the game. Really, just a really exceptional student of the game. In truth. Rat will be near side Rhino Specialist. Tarantula and Fang. Far side, adoznokt, a cost control specialist with Crawler and Tarantula. And we talked about, I mean, Rat will play these aggro builds, but this time he's in what looks like a very standard, I'm prepared to play defense, with kind of reading the board and saying there will be a aggro push on one side or the other. Picked up an extra pack of Fang for chaff, and one marksman for single target. The fact that he's got the marksman has cleared one Tarantula, and it gives him the edge here once these two have engaged, but with the support of the marksman. Even if the marksman had died first, Rat was going to win that engagement. So he wins round 1. Adoznokt down to 41-10. Proved Overlord, Wasp Swarm, Extended Range Steel Ball, and Deployment Module. I expect Rat is debating between those two. Deployment Module in Rat's hands is terrifying for opponent. This is the one I wanted to see him take, regardless of whether it was the better choice or not. But it's going to let him teleport units across the board, attack from all sorts of crazy angles. So this round, it's simple enough. Moves the Tarantula that was on the wrong side of the board over to the left side, where it can be engaged in the fight from the get-go. Adoznokt, okay, so puts it here instead. Adoznokt is taking the Wasps, so cost control Wasps. They're going to have a lot of trouble with the Fangs, and we saw a lot of the Fangs survive pretty late. He's also trying to play around the spell. He was looking at that board and thinking, well, the Wasps are the obvious thing. I'm empty in the back row. I don't want to have to buy the Fangs because they'd arrive super late. So he's spending 50, 50, and taking the Wasp Swarm of his own, putting them on that side. That's just a lot of economy play, covering all the fun things that Rat could have done with it, and Rat just played it straight. So, you know, this is one of the ways that Rat wins the econ game. It's less about the his own long-term economy, and a lot of times punishing players by putting them in compromising positions. On the other hand, Adoznokt did add the Phoenix, so that single target that he was missing in round 1 is present. And win him the round anyways. Adoznokt at 41-10, Rat down to 42-84. Other big add for Adoznokt was the fact that he had a third Tarantula. So Rat still on only 2 Tarantulas. I expect Rat is going to get out of Tarantula eventually. Sabertooth, Fort Overlord, and Sledge Drop. Saber is a really good counter to these as kind of a big tanky single target damage dealer on the ground. And we've already, I said I was expecting him to get out of them. He's already out of one. Sold 1 Tarantula, has a Vulcan there to just to tank all the chaff. Adoznokt also took the Saber. Any place that you can create the mirror, your units are going to be way better. So Adoznokt has a 39,000 hit point Saber that does 15,000 per shot. Rat has a 45,000 damage Saber that does almost 17, or does 18,000 per damage. Okay. And with the jumpy teleporty Tarantula, Rat now trying to attack this corner. It would also have tanked these folks. Rat decided to play Vulcan Marksman from the get-go. So he has 1 Marksman, and he does have Marksman best partner on the Vulcan. Sort of made sense given what he was seeing, right? He needed the single target, needed the chaff clear, because there were all the... Especially after seeing the round 1 deploy with 5 crawlers, right? And why does Vulcan Marksman work? We've got the Vulcan clearing chaff, and as we saw in the video, it is really strong. And then the Marksman for the single target and air. And he had 4 fangs right from the start. Those 4 fangs would be the anti-wasp. You can't just cheese a round with wasp. He's also going to get a big econ boost this round. He's got the cell already unlocked. We have advanced missile, advanced shield, subsidized crawler, assault fang. Adoznokt could have been tempted into subsidized crawler. It can be pretty valuable when you've got this many crawler on the board. He didn't have any levels to take right now. Skipped that. These guys had been leveled previously. And Rat can reposition the Tarantula. I was kind of expecting him to sell the Tarantula to have the redeploy available. Instead he's gone for, I'm going to have the Rhino to punch the Tarantula I know about. Doesn't know about this Saber, doesn't know about the Phoenix. Also takes Scorch on Vulcan. Build 090 added or downgraded Scorching Flames from 125% to 100% damage increase. I think it's still very strong. I think it's probably too strong as a great upgrade, especially one so cheap on a giant. But it basically is doubling your DPS, right? You go from having an 1800 DPS to a 3600 DPS. And, the reason I think that's overbalanced or overtuned is that there's no other giant has that kind of tech. I suppose the launcher overload on Fort also doubles DPS, but it costs them 20 range at least. So if this had that kind of downside, maybe it would be that. Maybe it would be appropriately balanced. One of the things that Alpha Titan has suggested, it's an idea that I really like, is having Scorching Flames reduce the AoE by 2 meters. And the way that that works, Alpha Titan did the math on it. That would actually be a 40% reduction in the area. Even though it sounds like it's a tiny, tiny reduction, but just the way that pi r squared for volume, the squared matters a lot. So 2 points of reduction is a big reduction for all. We get the unit drops. Adoznokt gets the melters that he would need to counter the Vulcans. Rat could conceivably have steel balls, typhoons, or arc lights instead of melters. Or he could just go into a bit of a melter mirror. Took the arc lights, so additional chaff clear. Interesting. I kind of expect him to place some of those in aggro positions. And yeah, that's exactly what you get. Sold. Okay, here's what he did. So he sold the Tarantula to get the deployment module. Puts the deployment module on the Rhino. Puts a arc light in this corner. Each realized that there was a sentry missile there, so he switched the Rhino to the other side. You're gonna get Rhino and arc light arrive. Arc light takes care of the chaff. Rhino will get a straight run to tower. This is the sort of thing that Rat is really, really good at. Finding and creating, well, finding your unprotected angle and attacking. So, for example, there's going to be an unprotected angle right here that you could run something through. Obviously, the melter Tarantula is going to be a problem there. But there's an angle that Rat could find. Here's an angle Rat could find with clear. There's one here if he could missile this guy out. But, on the other hand, there's also... This poor Vulcan has almost no protection. Down it goes, the crawler's arriving too late. So he's going to need to put a chaff here to screen for that guy. This side got locked pretty early. The Phoenix took care of this one. So, the mobile beacon too late, and it did get missiled out. Adoznokt threw down the missile, like very aware that Rat was going to try this kind of play, I think. Rat does get a bunch of econ advantage, tearing through both towers over time. And it's going to be a close round. It's a 100 hit point round. At one hero Arclight with half hit points. Adoznokt down to 1964. Go to a round 6. Rhino Assault for adoznokt. Again, this is the sort of thing that is very dangerous in Rat's hands, and he takes it. Assault Fort could also have been interesting, but he's committed to 2 techs on a different giant. Range and best partner, as Larius called out. And adoznokt is playing the Goomba Stomp Rhino in the corner. Adds a Wasp in defense. Rat, not Goomba Stomping anything, drops his Rhino in the middle. Still has the Arclight out there. So for adoznokt, I'm going with air units on the flank defense because nothing in that Rat has currently dropped shoots air targets. Of course, those won't be standing in the way, but this shield bubble is supposed to protect crawlers as they engage the Rhino in the way. I just put that down. Rat slightly repositions things. Trying to get a different angle. And possibly dodging the Rhino jab if that's what he's expecting right here. I'm gonna move over a little bit. Repositioning within the flank. The unit is not going to have to pay the summoning again. There's a Wasp Swarm there, but he's got a whole bunch of Wasps, or a whole bunch of Fangs that would have defended that, except adoznokt has dropped the oil and rushed a crawler into it, convinces this Vulcan to light the ground on fire and kill its own chaff screen. Oy, that is the downside of it. Kind of love that we got to see Gemma's video on Vulcans right before we see a Vulcan marksman carry out of a player like Rat. Rat, if anybody, should be able to use this super creatively, and I think you're seeing some of the downsides that Vulcan is not the only unit in the game. And there's a reason for that. And here's Orbital Javelin, yet another Vulcan counter. Especially if you have 2 Vulcans too close together. I don't think these are quite. Vulcans seemed a lot better in the video. HD Sweet and Sour, no. Lost again in tourney because of the Germany Wonderland with the best internet on Earth. Oh noes. I'm sorry, HD Sweet Sour. Had a network glitch, or right. Rat trying to dodge the javelin here. So a lot of times I'll take high mobility to ensure that I dodged a javelin appropriately. adoznokt guessed that he was going to do something to protect key units, like the saber, and dropping it elsewhere. Saber, by the way, had 70,800 hit points, so it was going to survive that, but only barely. And it does have double shot for trying to punch through whatever it's facing, but Rat has not committed into more of them. For the Wasps, Rat's got a triple Mustangs with range. Handle that. Was able to do here. Where did that Rhino go? Did we sell it? I know we had the jump on it. Rat did Orbital Javelin one of these guys. Mustang's getting it done on the outside. We've got plenty of chaff now, so the melters have been distracted all day. They do finally kill the marksman, though. A couple of hero Mustangs take down 2 different melting points during the tower debuff. Tarantula survived with just a couple of hit points, and the leveled melter finishing things off. Assault Fang, Assault Fort, Intensive, and Amplifying Core. Intensive would have been good much earlier in the game. This is probably too late for it. I think it's Amp Core or Skip. And adoznokt takes the Amp Core. I kind of hope Rat does as well. I don't know where he would put it, but Okay, so Rat sold the Rhino and put the jump drive, not jump drive, deployment module on the arc light to pull it out of the flank. Have some chaff clear. He has decided he has to answer the melters with melters, which makes sense, right? He's got much better chaff clear, so his melters should get the locks first. That is the important thing in the melter mirror, you got the lock first to have a little bit better range, whatever is needed. And we're going to ensure we have better range by dropping EMP on them. I think he's probably assuming that they will also have EMP. What is this for? Adoznokt is adding storms with incendiary to try and clear the chaff. He's only got 2 of them this round, but that can scale pretty quickly. I mean, if you're taking that, I would have... Oh, it did take the triple recruit. I just missed it behind unit. That's what I would have wanted to see, is triple flames. And you can see that what a difference that's making. We're getting a lot earlier locks from... from Adoznokt's storm... not the storms, from the melting points. Got lots earlier locks on the Vulcans over here. Rat did win this side, so EMPs to kill off at least 1 melter over here, but Adoznokt wins the round, drops Rat to 562, the missiles lighting the ground on fire basically for Adoznokt. The key there, and now Adoznokt will add a level 3 sandworm. There's nothing on Rat's board that really counters a sandworm. The melting points with range don't do it because the sandworm comes in to point blank. Rat takes it also, so both players on level 3 sandworm. Let's go. Adoznokt adds the EMP barrage. And for Rat, it's shields time. Shields up. 4 across the board. At very least, that's going to drop the fire up here, as well as protect key units from the EMP barrage. Both players opted to sell the worm, I think, for cash value. Realizing that they're just so invested in other units, right? For Rat, a pair of melters. Adoznokt adding 2 new melters as well. Way back in the corner over here. This one. Also trying to pull this key pack of units, including the level 3 melter, out of the front line so that they're behind some chaff. But Rat has such a good chaff board. Oh, there's also mines coming off the tarantulas. Yeep. But the Scorching Flames Vulcans actually handle those pretty well. The question is just, do we kill the tarantulas before they really get the chance to throw out more? Also throwing down a lot of EMP onto the melters. So you saw there's some walking into range problems. And Rat getting locks first on the right, not getting locks first on the left, and range on the marksman. That improves not only the 1 marksman on the board, but all of the other marksmen that get spawned from those Vulcans. And winning from the right to the left, Rat drops Adoznokt down to 921. Note that he's gone for the EMP on the marksman is probably the other key add for turning off text from either the tarantula when the tarantula's out in front or the melter when the melter's out in front. That's part of how he won from the right side. Dropping, of course, the same 4 shields that he had last round. Needs to rebuy them. Takes a big EMP blast. I won this side already. If you shield, I'm going to have the shields eaten up by the EMP blast. If you don't shield, I'm going to turn off all your attack. So I win either way. It's a good plan. Adoznokt goes for the opposite. I'm going to take Photon here. That might save him the cost of bubbles if he considers this side protected from EMP and just shields over here. He's also got all of his, literally almost everything except the Orbital Javelin came back. Rhino Assault, Wasp Swarm, all available, but he's just dropping them on the back line. Have them join the fight as half. Round 10, it's crazy. This is an exciting game. We picked a good one. Rat's Rhino just also coming in from the backside. Yeah, this is a crazy round. I'm not even going to try to direct attention anywhere. Your eye will be picking up something that my eye is not. Mine is going to be picking up something yours might not be. I'm expecting Rat to win the right and Adoznokt to win the left. Just from where the... both from how last round went and how where the spells went. It is pretty much what we're seeing. The Photon has worn off now on the left side. But, Rat in a bit of trouble on the left, but now the marksmen are arriving and EMPing things. Had the tower debuff there. He's out of EMP delivery until now, turns off range, and that's enough to win that round. Wait a minute. It is not. Both sides completely dead. Camera falls through the floor because there's nothing to focus on. And we get to round 11 of this epic Rat versus Adoznokt, round 3 of Weekend Tournament Asia number 69. This is spectacular. 3 level 3 steel balls for Rat. They're basically in a chaff position. This is turned into a very standard looking board. Vulcan melting point for Rat. All the melters with some tarantulas for clear for Adoznokt. This is the round where the Orbital Javelin comes back. Of course, Adoznokt is putting it on the side that he can hit. First off, because of the way that Rat is positioned, he's always going to be able to hit a pair of Melter Vulcan. It won't actually kill this Vulcan. Will kill the Mustangs, of course. Will kill the Melter unless Rat levels it. So Rat is aware of that and is going to level 1, 2, 3... It leveled basically every melter except the one that's getting hit. Mobile beacons that one. Crazy. No idea what's working and what's not. Okay, what is working? This, come on, dodge, dodge, dodge. It didn't make it. Needed. No, we had temp speed even. We just didn't get there. It was well positioned. What is working? EMP barrages from both sides melters are critical. The flames on the ground from Adoznokt are what is killing Rat's chaff. Late arriving fangs are pretty key for tanking stuff for Rat. Also the fact that the Mustangs are out in front of the melters by range is helping. Rat's still winning on the right side. Both players had their javelin there. EMP on the marksman is working for Rat. That's one of the key elements in, for example, turning off this melter's tech. That's why this melter wasn't getting all the way to tower. And Rat gets it done. Beats Adoznokt in an epic 11-rounder. GG's. No techs on the steel balls. They were just for tankingness. if you weren't seeing so much EMP on the board, you might have expected Rat to take mech div so that they were chaff that turns into chaff, essentially. But on this board, they were just chaff that can run through fire, essentially. Yes, I know they have 15,000 hit points. They're still chaff. They have no tech. They're not really contributing to anything. They don't get in and deal damage. 574, 404. 20,000. This one actually did some damage. Rat playing standard. And yes, 11 rounder with a 0-0 round. Yes. Mr. Dad calls out I think my issue is that I level stuff just to level it. Yep. That is a big economic sink if you're not getting the value out of it. And it took me a long time to figure that out because my thinking on it, Mr. Dad, it was, the difference from level 1 to level 2 is so big that we didn't even make it down to see any of the other matches. Sakura lost to this fellow. Math is might beat their opponent. Rat won against adoznokt. Acal defeated HD Susauer. Steelsane got the win. Blue Hair got the win. Shiroha gets a win. And mz.Philomatiko beat Jota. So those were the round 4 matches. Jota is now in the spoiler role. You get Rat versus Shiroha. Blue Hair versus Acal. This would be one of the best standard v standards, I would expect. So how do you decide who to level and in what order to pick them for a level up? It's a great question. Really good question. So let me explain why simply leveling them is not the right answer and the mistake that I made first. So the mistake that I made is to consider that the difference between level 1 at, say, a 200 cost and level 2 at a 100 cost is basically like doubling the strength of my army, because I doubled the strength of my army for half the price of reducing of adding another unit. Unfortunately, while it increased the strength of my army, it didn't increase the amount of damage that I'm dealing to the top corner. And it's not a force multiplier, where if you have 5 of a unit, it's actually better to add a force multiplying tech for 300 than it is to level that group of units, right? So 5 sledges actually benefit more from range or mechanical rage than they do from 3 levels of tech, 3 levels on that. Welcome to round 4 of Weekend Tournament Asia number 69. We just saw a standard v standard match. We're going to see another one here, I expect, because the Green Mountains Smile at Me is a standard player near side. Steelsane far side, also a very standard player. Supply specialist with Crawler and Stormcaller for the Russian, and a Tarantula marksman side start near side from Quick Supply for blue. So yes, Dark Cigar, if you're going to pick one out of a group of similar units to level, pick the unit that's doing the most damage. You want something, and the reason you do that is, that, like, let's say you're looking at 3 different marksmen and you're like, well, why wouldn't I level the one that's doing the least damage, not the one that's doing the most, so that it kind of catch up and pull its weight? The reason it's doing less damage is not because it's engaged less or needs to do more damage per individual shot. It's doing less damage because overkill damage doesn't count. So if he does 2,300 damage to a Crawler with 300 hit points, it counts as 292 hit points of damage dealt on his bar. Whereas if this one was doing the full 2390 to, let's say it's shooting a giant 3 times, you know, it's got the full amount of damage on its bar. So that's the one you wanted to level up. It was shooting a big target all around. As expected, both players start in standard formations. This game should be excellent to study in terms of the positioning from both players. And that is what they are both really, really good at. For round 1, with the chaff clear advantage of Tarantula, the Steelsane, or I'm sorry, Galaxy is going to win. Green Mountains is going to win. Yeah, Steelsane down early, down to 3,600 or 3,700. Galaxy at 4,300. I'm wondering if the name change is literally about the Vulcan nerf. The Galaxy ends in fire because the Vulcan was the dominant, and Green Mountains, now that maybe there's a chance we could play something that's not flames. Interesting. You used to run range instead of HE. Note, of course, HE increases the splash damage range, but the incendiary is explicitly not the area of splash. This is this unit attacks ignite an area of 5.5 meters. So HE does not increase the splash range of the incendiary. It does create, I think it does impact the splash of the EMP. Tarantulas added for Steelsane, so we've gone kind of mirror here with tarantulas for both, and 4 marksmen for Green Mountains. This round goes to Steelsane with the storms outranging the marks at the end of the round. Oh, wait. Steel. Yeah, okay, Steel actually running HE makes more sense. He doesn't run range on this. This is where I was expecting to see range. That's the loadout I was expecting from Galaxy Ends in Fire. Range, because a lot of times you would see them take range and incendiary. Basically what they would rely on is dropping fire into enemies' territory, and all of their chaff, no matter how late it's arriving, gets lit on fire. So 2 storms. They will tend to play a line of 4 storms with fangs in front. I wonder, that positioning is new for them also. Horizontal instead of vertical. I like the way it gets split up by the crawlers running through it. Handy to know, because that's 2 different packs that you have to work your way through for splash damage. Green Mountain, oh, I was going to say winning on the left, actually does not because of the tower debuff. The Steel wins on the right, that allows him to win on the left with the tower debuff. So it's down to 3,600 versus 3,700. We get ourselves to round 4. Phoenix, Farseer, Saber, and Steel Ball are up. Dark Cigar, I would add a note to the pieces about leveling. The other really key thing to think about is who is feeding experience to opponent's carry unit. So Rat's famous Rat's rules include a never feed, never level your chaff, and part of the reason for that is you don't want to be, especially if you're going into like carry Arclight, your leveled chaff still dies in a single shot, and it's feeding 3 times the experience that the level 1 chaff did. So like, almost, Rat's basic rule is never level the chaff unit. Anything that you're thinking of as just getting out and dying. And that is actually true even if it's a frontline, if your chaff were level 1 sledges instead of crawlers or fangs. And then other piece of that is, can I change a breakpoint? So by breakpoint I mean number of shots that it takes to kill somebody. Galaxy, this is not a green mountain, that's a Vulcan. Galaxians in Fire loved a Vulcan Phoenix build for a long time. It was always Vulcan Stormcaller Phoenix. Right now it looks like Vulcan Stormcaller Marksman. And again, there's good reasons for it. We're Vulcan for chaff clear, and Marksman or Phoenix for the single target. The Green Forest can end in fire, it's true. Also took the additional deployment, so which Steelsane did as well. Steelsane's taken a double additional deployment. My goodness, that is kind of greedy. You'll be able to throw down a zillion units, sir. And, oh yeah, it looks like it's just going to be 100 and 200 cost unit spam from him. And range on the tarantulas. Still got 2 units to drop down as well. But for right now, it's adding the late Fang, I think, on this side. What else have we added? Fang front and center. For Green Mountains, Vulcan on the right, range on the Vulcans, range on the Marksmen. So again, we're going to turn this into a range war, right? And here are these late Fangs ahead of the Farseers that were last round's ad. New Fangs on the outside as well. I think the ads, where are the ads? Are the ads crawlers? What are you doing here? Not paying enough attention to their board to actually pick out what the ads were. What the new units are. And these ads. Some crawlers are coming across the court. Cross-court callers from Steelsane. Just interesting targeting. They're trying to pathfind around their own units. They also consider how much time do I spend in rotation. For Steelsane, it's just a zillion tarantulas with tech. Galaxy down to 200 hit points really, really quickly. This Steelsane will have seen some variation of this build many, many times, and has a unique answer to it. The tarantulas and sabers right now. The sabers are the gold damage dealers. They are the giant killers on this board, and I actually really love them in that role. The bringing back Sabertooth double shot, I think, is the biggest nerf to Vulcan that this patch had. Steel is also taken a Scorpion. So did Galaxy. One of the things that Galaxy used to be kind of notorious for was never unlocking field recovery, and just adding, if Bearlight gave them a unit, there was a place for it on their board. The Scorpion used to go right here, or right here. At any rate, there's a place for it on their board, and they would just drop it. I mean, if Bearlight gives me steel balls, great. I have steel balls down in the corner somewhere. They arrive as late chaff the way that Rat did it. No techs ever, but we're just going to leave the most number of deploys on the board. Now they've added some sail to their repertoire. I'm not sure what did you sell this? Oops. Oh. Okay. Oh, sold one of the Farseers. So we've gone into the 2 Farseers, has really decided that they are not pulling their weight in terms of outbound damage. Adds the 2 Stormcallers. Still hasn't got the fire on the ground, which would have been one of the hallmarks of their build earlier. Actually making me wonder if Like, what exactly is going on? Because this is a player who used to light the ground on fire from, like, round 3. So, I am surprised. Alarm for my normal wake-up time says, get coffee. I am going to follow that instruction. Steelsane with the win here over the Green Mountains smile at me. And we are through to... Well, we've still got some matches going. I think we will jump into... I mean, we go into another rat match here? The one with the most hit points? I want to see Blue Hair and Acowl. Inglorious Biohazard says, wait. Now that I think about it, your US time, that must be some early morning for you today. Yep. 4:40 alarm to get up for a 5 o'clock tournament cast. It was dark o'clock. Blue Hair, it looks very standard. Rat, it looks very... Or Acowl, it looks very rat-like, very unstandard. Blue Hair has Hacker on the board already. Hacking the... This must have been a... aggro ball start. The balls have leveled. They're level 3 with 2 techs now. The hacker is an answer to them, and that's why it has gotten up to level 2. It's been hacking level 3 steel balls all game. Also, we're going to win on the right side with the Haste Melter. So, Haste Melter gets through to tower, chews up anything you'd have had over there with the Vulcan behind it. Now, this is just almost silly, isn't it? We've got Hacker, we've got a Vulcan. The Hacker does get through, and that one will level. We actually turned around the level 3 steel balls protected tower with Hacker. That is part of the game. Blonde Lover says, can we get first person view from Phoenix next round? Just next round. Oh, we could probably do that. So Hacker, of course, gets the level. It earned it. Blue Hair's Hacker Solution has dropped Acowl from 4,000 hit points to 2,400 last round. This time out, Acowl adds Photon Emission. It's immunity to EMP, Ignite, Acid, and Degen. It's not immunity to hacking, the way that one item is. And Acowl adds Triple Storm to try and get the damage dealing out there. Also a ranged level 1 hacker. Pair of ranged level 1 hackers on the other side. So Blue Hair very much reading that there will be something interesting over here. And if there's not, I'm still going to do... right, like there could be a Rhino attack here or a Steel Ball attack here. Try and get this tower. So that's what these hackers are about, I think. Does throw down its sticky oil and incendiary, so at this point we've got the what would you call it, the War Crimes Vulcan thrown down. The reason he's doing this is all the chaff burns, right? The only things, this whole fight is going to be big units only, right? And big units are what the hacker is best at. It has a very high DPS, you do the math on it. And updates from other channels. Rat has won. Make it through to next round of the tournament, round 5 of the tournament. Round 5 would normally be the quarterfinals of a weekend tournament. Oh, we didn't do the Phoenix first person, did we? Sorry. We should have done the Phoenix first person for this round because we'd have lived to the end of the round. Actually, both players surviving. Acowl taking a lot more damage because there's way more giants on the board. Don't take mass-produced melting point when you have melting points on the board. That degrades all of your existing units. So Blue Hair would only be thinking about redeploy heavy armor EMP. EMP is probably the right choice there. For ACOWL, mass-produced melter might have been a choice. Oh, there's no melters on the board, I'm sorry. There was that haste module one, right? But it's gone. He sold the haste module to put it on the hacker over here. Plus 40% attack is what he's thinking with that. So I'm just going to make this thing hack things quicker. The faster I hack, the quicker the unit is on my team. I'd be using the upgrade all on my hackers, but I'm not Blue Hair. Blue Hair substantially better at this game than I ever hoped to be, honestly. For ACOWL, the haste module is kind of in the traditional spot on the Mustangs. The Mustangs they're getting Missile Interceptor. Missile Interceptor, when both Incendiary and Oil are firing, they're both tough to hit. So I expect we're going to see some flames on the ground anyways, even though he's got the anti-missile Mustangs. I don't think that shuts this down. The highest level steel balls are getting mobile beaconed off to the corner. We're just trying to protect them? Oh, we're trying to let the... Yes, we are trying to protect them. We're trying to let the Wraith get through. So it's a healing Wraith with heavy armor at level 2. We're trusting it to kill the main shaft targets. We're trusting the Phoenix up here to kill the Giants and eventually get through to killing the... hackers. You can see part from the way the camera's jumping around. You can actually see chunks of what's going on where the Phoenix is spending so much of its time turning and shooting its own units, right? We're currently shooting things that used to be ours. Here's the Wraith help. Kind of in the way, Wraith. I can't see now. But that is part of why Hacker is so valuable, right? Is that you're wasting opponents' units' time in retargeting, you're wasting shots, especially like you hack one Fang and units actually stop and target on that one Fang, right? So you can get if you can get a Sabertooth to waste its shot killing what was originally its own Fang unit, so it's actually pretty instructive to watch that round from the Phoenix perspective. Both players took the level 2 Wasps when offered. For Blue Hair, I fully expect to see something like range and aerial spec as his answer to the Wraith. If he had EMP on the bar, turning this off. I missed the opportunity to do the pilot commentary. I did. We're not the pilot. We were just getting the pilot camera view. So here we got range and aerial specialization is the answer to the Wraiths. Even so, it's going to be expensive or time consuming to get through the now 8-gun field maintenance Wraiths. Blue Hair adds 2 more Wasps. He's perfectly content to run a Wasp game. This, by the way, it's pretty funny to see it being thrown at Blue Hair. Blue Hair showed up to weekend tournaments and won it with this strat at a time that everybody was considering Wasps unplayable, as they are so hard countered by Mustang that they're completely unplayable. And Blue Hair showed up with field maintenance Wraith as his answer to it. So Wasps were either hard countered by Mustang or they were hard countered by AA Fort at the time, and he would throw down the Mustangs or throw down the Wasps, bait out whichever response it was. A lot of times at that point it was actually the AA Fort as the instant response. He would bait out the response and then throw down these healing Wraiths, and he won match after match, won tournament with it. It was just, I had this creative idea, it works, I bait my opponents into an unwise response, and it's meta-defining. Like, it's completely meta-defining. And you can see ACOWL brings it out against the originator of it, perhaps not even knowing where it came from, and Blue Hair. Shockingly, Blue Hair has an answer to it. I am not surprised. No, we're not guaranteed a 7-round tournament. We have 5 unbeatens left. So Philomatika beat Math is Mighty. Math is Might. Blue Hair over Acal. Steelsane got the win. Rat gets the win. And at the top end, current number 1 seed is I Am the Master, You Are the Servant. Multiple time tournament champions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Multiple time tournament champions. Shiroha is always strong. Zemp is always strong. Rooster's a multiple time champion. You have a Dev in Bear-like. You have Skay, who's a threat to win anything. You have HD Susauer, who's a former tournament winner. Yeah, this tournament was full of really good players. Dorgon, excellent, right? Like, just all the way down to the bottom. Woot, excellent, right? Unrivaled Super Hottie, excellent. Illuminati, excellent. Like, this tournament was stacked. Speaking of stacked tournaments, we will be hosting a tournament. Okay, Math is Might is in the spoiler role. Here we could have a Steelsane versus Blue Hair, mz.philomatiko versus Rat. I think we're going to take a Steelsane versus Blue Hair. I think one of the really underestimated elements of the new unit is the range EMP. Welcome to round 5, which could be the quarterfinals, could be the semifinals of this tournament, where we've got 2 former champions going head-to-head, trying to win a Asia title number 69, or the coveted number 69, and add the first medal to a medal case. Medals, of course, a new element from the 090 release. They will be a permanent record of your achievements. Way that I have understood it from Bear-like is we have multiple tournament types coming. I think they have talked about the idea of having a monthly tournament. I think he's also discussed the idea of having a first season tournament. Each of those would award a permanent badge, permanent medal. You've got your own medal case. I expect eventually we'll wind up with like a, the ability to go look at a player's medal case. But that's probably a post-release feature. Steelsane near side is cost control specialist with Tarantula Marksman, adds a pair of crawlers. Very standard board. This is quite what we saw him play against quite what we saw him play earlier. Blue Hair took a giant specialist with fangs and steel balls. Adds a pair of marksmen, has already sold one of the steel balls, so I'm not even trying to rush. We saw, Steelsane's again in a kind of a defensive formation, saw the steel balls and was prepared for rush on either side. Between them, the tarantulas are going to clear out chaff quickly enough, and the marksman will clear out the steel balls quickly enough, as you can see over here, that Blue Hair opted to just get rid of the steel balls right off the bat. I'm going to convert them to monies. I'm going to convert monies to giants, and I'm going to win the game by being big. I be big and strong. I win game. Big number good. Big number good. Steelsane's big number is 5,000. Blue Hair down to 4,600. We go to round 2. Improved Wraith, Missile Device Specialist, Elite Stormcaller, Fast Teleportation. Used to be called Strike Specialist on the side. Both players skipping all of that. Blue Hair, it's a Vulcan. Surprise, surprise. This isn't just because Vulcan is good. This is I'm presumably going to Best Partner. I have Best Partner and Shooting Squad available. Assume we are going the Best Partner combo for Vulcan. We've got some marksmen on the board already. We could conceivably sell the steel ball to give this guy Scorch, but, Blue Hair is not running Scorch anymore. Blue Hair has taken it off, has the War Crimes Vulcans with armor enhancement and best partner. Interesting. Nobody is taking Scorch off the board yet, but Blue Hair... Well, no, I mean, Blue Hair is not a player who comes out with the usual build in Glorious Biohazard. Blue Hair is a player who comes out and pushes the edge of the meta. Always has been. This is why part of why he's a legend. And so, like I was saying, he's the one that came out with the... I use the healing Wraith to tank all of the wasps. Now he's getting subsidized marksmen, so he's already got marksmen on the board. He'll be able to add a bunch more quickly. Steelsane knows that. Also takes them. He's also got marks on the board. Now I expect we're going to wind up in a full carry marksman build from both players. Blue Hair sold the second steel ball to bring out the Vulcan. And he played Rooster on Ladder 3 times in a row with an identical build. That's fun. But no, he's super creative, not the cookie cutter type at all. So it has here, for example, anybody else in this game is running Scorch, right? And he's like, I'm not running Scorch, I'm getting rid of the chaff with Sticky Oil and Incendiary Bomb, and then I'm going to increase my hit points by 50% and have a tank. I think that's where he's going. And you can see he's already thrown down the Light the Ground on Fire with Incendiary. We'll see it. I mean, he's basically... Blue Hair's going to look for something that he thinks is an optimal edge of the map, and has really good solutions to things. So, he's not somebody that I would think of as a cookie cutter. And at this point, if you're up in the 2200s, it's one of the things that I loved, even about the Galaxy Ends in Fire, who ran a cookie cutter build, but it was cookie cutter because it had a answer to almost every major problem that an opponent could try to deliver. Pretty amazing to see. He'd really worked through a lot of positioning issues and unit to unit items. So it's you knew what he was going to run, and then you could run that cookie cutter and get it to 1800, but the fact that he'd gotten up to the 2200s with it and was winning tournaments with it is because he had the answers to so many different things. How do you change the viewpoint? So I'm clicking my mouse wheel. I get rotate, right? I've got arrow keys for up and around, right? And for me personally, I'm used to mouse off of the item and make it. I'm trying to learn to do keyboard so that I can get over to chat and other pieces without without interrupting you guys' view of the map. And then you've got different pieces up here. You've got manual camera is where you would control the camera during the battle. Automatic camera is the one that I'm using, where we get this kind of zooming in on or zooming out to show things. And aerial camera, I think, is the... I remember this one. Oh yeah, you have a specific point of view on the camera, on the battlefield, and you're kind of looking from that one spot. And just controlling where you're looking with mouse move. Okay, Steelsane's build coming good so far. We're currently looking at things from the Blue Hair perspective, but Steelsane is blue. Blue Hair, our options are Absorption Module, skip for 50. Let's come back over to the Steelsane side of the board. Okay, the Steelsane is now in Sabers as his Vulcan killer. And ranged now mine tarantulas. So the mines are strong enough to run through the fire. That's kind of the downside to incendiary. Other people who are running this kind of build would be running Scorch. With Scorch, a Vulcan is going to chew through the mines pretty quickly. We'll see if the mines are the right chaff answer for Steelsane. The other possibility would be some very deep fangs, arriving from down here to show up to the battlefield from behind the fire as opponent comes over here. There is, in fact, all the view hints down here, as Reddy pointed out. Thank you very much. Mouse wheel and ZX are zoom. Drag the right mouse button, WASD to move. Oh, right button to move. Okay, that might be what I get used to. Okay, let's try that. That's easier than reaching keyboard. Love it. Learn something new every day. 2,600 hours into the match, into the game, and I'm still throwing down something new. So here's the danger, right? Is you can get them to lock onto something, and in this case, it's locked onto Saber. They weren't even shooting at the mines as the mines came in, and he's running double shot marksmen, which are great for dealing lots of damage, but they only shoot one mine at a time. Still enough for Blue Hair to win the round. But he's at 2,800, Steelsane at 3,500. Get to a round 6 unit drop. Big level 5 Rhino for Blue Hair. That might just be a sell for cash. It is a sell for cash. We're in a carry marksman, carry Vulcan, best partner-y style build. And we're going to add the triple wasps to it. Again, we talked about Blue Hair brings out the wasps, brings out the units in front of it. But what he's noticing here is that Steelsane has absolutely no anti-air. The only anti-air are the single target marksmen over here. Steelsane adds range to his marks. Great. Adding more marks because they're so cheap. But still, there's no... Now he adds EMP to them. We will turn off whatever the key techs are. Also throws down a crawler on the flank to draw this first volley of incendiary. All pretty. This is a fun play. It's crawler on the flank and oil. The incendiary bombs land in the oil. Lights the whole ground on fire, so there's not going to be any chaff on that side. Okay. But again, there's no real answer to these wasps, other than a whole bunch of marksmans. And unfortunately, the wasps also not dealing with the mines, and the marksman will getting a lot of them done. Also locked onto the Vulcans because they don't have Scorch. This is one of the things. Yeah, there's not Scorch isn't even on the bar. That's the thing that Steelsane has noticed. So I can just throw up some shields. There's not great shield break yet. The round is a lot closer than you might have expected. Steelsane wins by a single marksman surviving. Yes, you gold-plated marksman, you are a hero. Blue Hair down to 2742. Steelsane's still at the 3500. Laser sight for your best marksman, presumably. Could conceivably be for your best wasp or best Vulcan. Acid blast, EMP, intensive laser sights are the options here. Laser sights are going on the best wasp. Level 2, level 1, and go on the outside. Steelsane, yeah, a little bit of guessed wrong. Took the EMP blast, drops it on the wrong side from the wasps. The ones that got the laser sight, yeah, it's alright. 50-50, right? This isn't going to be quite as devastating. They will run forward a little bit, so I think this positioning is such that it's going to land outside of the chaff. We are carry wasp now with range and elite marksman already. For Steelsane, the answer was going to be aerial spec wasps. So we'll see what... Now that Bluehair has baited out a response and knows what the response is, he'll add something that protects his wasps. We'll have to figure out what that is. Standard v standard for Bluehair and Steelsane. Ready. Ranged Mustangs are the canonical counter to wasps. Yes. Wasps can scale to the point that they all but outrange the Mustang. They can equal them at, like a level 9, super leveled whatever. So you get to this point where the wasps start to feed levels off the Mustangs instead of the other way around. Also, the gravity, or the fire on the ground from the Vulcans was going to just destroy the Mustangs if the Mustangs run into it. So if he were going to answer with Mustangs, he would also need something that was coming up to draw the fire ahead of the Mustangs, but also capable of, how to describe this, capable of getting there fast enough. Steel's answer right now is going to be 3 level 2 sledges, so some tankingness. They could anti-rocket, and then they're not shooting the wasps while they anti-rocket. Right? Like, you have to be in position to prevent the fire from dropping. Like, the danger is that the fire drops, and then you run into it, right? But yes, for a long time, nobody was running wasps because Mustangs were considered such a strong counter to them. Bluehair is the one that came up that kind of reintroduced them to the meta, really. And like I said, won tournament with it. And now they're very strong. And part of the reason they were a strong choice then is that Vulcan was so dominant with some of the nerfs that you needed something that the Vulcan couldn't shoot. And Bluehair, so far, you're going to go ranged aerial spec wasps. I had aerial spec on my wasps, and my wasps outrange yours because of the elite marksman, because of the laser sights. And you wanted to add some melting points, that's fine. My wasps come out and tank the melting points, protect the Vulcan. So a Bluehair gets the W against Steelsane, knocks him out in the standard versus standard. I mean, two great players, two of the legit all-time greats of this game. Steelsane, something like 7 tournament wins. Bluehair has been atop the world MMR leaderboard for longer than I have been playing the game, legitimately. Two of the legends, Cat and Bluehair, Steelsane and Bluehair. They've met many, many times before. They will meet many, many times again. Today, Bluehair is the victor. And as Reddy is saying, right? In this case, the wasps with AA turned out to be the wrong choice because Bluehair was willing to spend the 700 it takes to drop aerial spec onto wasps. Right? It cost him in that he's not able to do all of the other cool things he might have wanted to do that round. Also, both players took the sledges, so they kind of negated each other. I think the melting point choice for Steel, if he was counting on the wasps being the solution to the wasps, the melters kind of wound up locked onto sledges, locked onto wasps, never really cut through there. Really nicely played. Bluehair, I mean, the decisive moment there was when Bluehair saw the complete lack of anti-air on Steel's board and committed hard into the wasps. Even if Steel is correctly answering it, he's answering it a round or two behind. Right?
blue hair just kept accelerating that. Hammer the button down. I'm throwing down. I basically bought nothing but wasps. Bought nothing but wasp X from the moment he decided to go with it. Just going to commit to this. I'm going to win or lose with it. Boom, let's go. mz.Philomatiko beats Rat. So Rat knocked out at round 5. Well done, mz.Philomatiko. To determine whether or not we are going to have a round 7, Math is Might is in the spoiler role against You Are the Master and I Am the Servant. And, or You Are the Servant, I Am the Master. Sorry, other way around. Master here is a giant specialist with subsidized Mustang, additional deployment, efficient giant manufacturing. He's just going to try to spam down all the giants in the world. Math is Might is an aerial specialist with additional deployment and advanced defensive tactics. So his giants are more expensive, but on the other hand, he's got the melters. These are arranged barrier forts that are trying to presume these were the answer to the Vulcans, and then the melting points are the answers to the forts. I think we knew from the scoreboard coming in that Math is Might wins this round, dropping Master down to like 100 hit points. We're going to have 1200, 1400. Math is Might will have just enough left to still be alive. The last giant goes down there. Okay. We know he gets dropped to 100 hit points. No spoiler there. We go to round 10. And Master turn this around and keep us on pace for a 7-round tournament, or will we be playing a 6-rounder? Fields for both players. We both have the incendiary bomb up, so... Okay. Sandworms for the giant specialist. So the unlock was free. We're dropping down a sandworm with sandstorm. Try and duck, get in close, and then create the scenario where the melting points have to advance too far. Also taking the same play that we saw from Steelsane with these flank crawlers to draw. If you went for incendiary bomb, they would drop the flames out there, and you'd have. In this case, it's going to work out a little bit better for Master because the crawlers would run out into the flame. As we're seeing, it's not going to happen that way. The Master's flames are killed. Math is Might did not drop the incendiary bomb. Instead, we've got actually search radar Farseers doing work for Math is Might. Trying to create some additional range for these melting points. The melters have 180 meter range with 10 range from tower and 10 meter range from their Farseer buddies. Tremendous range melters, and at 180 meters is exactly their EMP range. This, I think, is the spot, and that's also why Master could not go into... You might be wondering, why didn't he slam down his own melting point? Because he knew they were going to be outranged due to Farseer bonuses. So Math is Might beats You Are the Master, I Am the Master, You Are the Servant. That is... Math is Might was in the spoiler role. That's going to drop us from 7 rounds to 6. That turned these two matches into semifinals. So you're going to have a final between Blue Hair and mz.Philomatiko coming up after our final in moments. Let's go! Not go and get myself coffee. Throw down the last sip of coffee. Be excited for this. Welcome to the final of Weekend Tournament Asia number 69. First time I've been up to cast the entirety of Asia Tournament. I'm excited for the release of the game. I'm excited for fact that we've been invited to cast the official pro tournament that's going to celebrate the release of the game, open to anybody. I want to have all of these weekend tournaments in memory, so that I'm up to speed on the players who'd be part of that one. Near side, we've got Blue Hair, the man, the myth, the legend, multi-time tournament winner, streamer on Bilibili. You're in the Asia regions. Playing a cost control specialist. We have not seen from him. With Marksman, we know he likes the Marksman right now. We know he likes the Vulcan Marksman build. And spots a quick supply specialist with Mustangs and Crawlers, kind of expecting an aggro build, so he puts some Fangs outside of towers. Basically, the idea there is, whatever you've got, I want it to stop on the Fangs, so the Tarantulas can devour it. And if you have something big, I have Marksman to cover it. He has guessed correctly where the steel balls came. mz.philomatiko, a supply specialist, 50 to unlock, 200 to buy, and then 1 extra pack of Crawlers. Crawlers are arriving very late. And the steel balls are a pretty key add here. They are able to destroy the Tarantula on that side, get through to tower. They also deal the damage to the tower, so those are about halfway to leveling. One of the key elements of a steel ball push is getting levels into the steel balls early. Get them big and tough and tanky. And HD Sweet and Sour says, I hope MZ wins. He deserves it. Yes, mz.philomatiko has not won a tournament before. So definitely the underdog here. And it would be quite the achievement to win a tournament by beating Blue Hair, no less. And no less, also beating Rat in the previous round. So that's quite the road to the finals for mz.philomatiko. Wasp Swarm for them. Oh, and Jota earlier. Oh my goodness, that is quite the run for mz.philomatiko. Playing out of his gourd, loves the new patch apparently. Playing above his level, maybe, or perhaps establishing himself at a new level. Wasp Swarm, again, there's nothing back here, so this would be... Blue Hair is vulnerable to it. And you can see Blue Hair is going to spend some time thinking about that. Got the Wasp Swarm to deal with, he's got the Rhino Assault to deal with, he's got the Underground Threat to deal with. What can you possibly do that is going to cover all 3 of those, and is your opponent going to cover them at all? Right? So for Blue Hair, it's Rhino on the back right corner. mz.philomatiko drops the expected Wasp placement. Blue Hair sold the left side Tarantula, brings in the left side Vulcan. And that is going to change some of this. It gets through a lot of things quicker. The Wasps will get to towers, even though there are some units shooting at them. They get this right side tower while the Vulcan was locked onto by steel balls, and Crawlers get this side tower. So mz.philomatiko made the right decision there. The Rhino can't counter the Wasps, so it just ran away and got out in front. It's the last thing to go down. mz.philomatiko wins 2 rounds in a row. Blue Hair at 36-15. Laser sight for Blue Hair. That's a really quick choice for it. I might have wanted to pick the absorption module. Absorption module on this Vulcan could help a lot. Actually, no, with what Blue Hair runs, because he's not running Scorch, you don't get the huge DPS on that absorption. For mz.philomatiko, taking the absorption module lets him save attack. Doesn't have to spend tech on energy absorption. He'll be able to just do ranged steel balls easily. Also adds the second steel ball in front of the Mustangs. This is a classic attack formation, kind of a classic attack build that's been around since the very start of the game. Ball, crawl, stang. You're basically relying on the Mustangs to be the anti-air and chaff clear. The steel balls are the single target. The crawlers are the chaff to distract things. Blue Hair's answer right now is to throw down the incendiary bombs. That took care of the Mustangs, while the Vulcan proper took care of the crawlers, right? So, the Vulcan's flames proper take care of the crawlers, but our energy absorption, or as the case where the, excuse me, game click. Thank you. Our absorption module steel balls got the locks. Did everything they needed to on the left side. The Philomatiko cleans up on the right as well. Cleans up due to the debuff, of course. So that has dropped mz.Philomatiko down. mz.Philomatiko is at 4,200. Blue Hair down to 3,200. mz.Philomatiko takes the pair of level 2 storms. Now, I like this a lot, but why? Because these storms are going to survive the fight, and they're going to do 400 damage on the ball. Blue Hair takes the Melter. Okay. Melter with... and sells it. So he's got the Melter unlocked for free out of that, if he needs it later. And potentially by selling it so early, mz.Philomatiko might not know that he has the unlock available and might miscalculate that that's about what's happening. We saw him run this earlier in tournament as we kind of jumped into the build late, right? As an answer to a steel ball push like this, especially one that is scaling out of control, he takes the level 2 hackers. So level 2 hacker with the laser sights. I'm going to try to get some locks on those steel balls really early. Also took a Vulcan on this side, handling the back corner. For mz.Philomatiko, there's not much that handles the Wraith right now, so the Wraith is up above things. Again, we're going to make sure that we're clearing the chaff so that the steel balls can get through on the important units. And done that because he knows the chaff clear for his build. Mustangs was running into the fire and dying. Stormcallers get the job done out here, take down tower. And on the other side, the Wraith has killed all the anti-air. Its mobile beacon has gotten it through the tower. Going after the other tower just doesn't exist because it's still on the mobile beacon. But the two storms finish things out. Blue Hair down to 2770, but it's starting to stabilize. He did better than he did. What was he doing well to win? He has pulled some of the defense with these crawlers. He was clearing the chaff with the Mustangs, so there's not enough chaff up front. And then the steel balls were getting locks onto the big units. First the Tarantula that's in front of tower, then the Vulcan that was in front of tower. Then, because he gets the tower debuff, of course, during the debuffs, your units are moving at 20% of their speed, but critically, their attack is reduced to 10%, and your attacks are buffed by 1.5. They're up by 50%. Yeah, HD Sweet and Sour. mz.Philomatiko is putting on early pressure. He's making great use of I get the tower. And the question is just, is he going to be able to finish this before Blue Hair's late game comes online? So here is a good answer, and this is one that Alpha Titan will talk about a lot in terms of stopping a push like this. Vertical sledges will just stop steel balls. They wind up locked onto the sledge, they wind up locked onto the next sledge, they wind up locked onto the next sledge. The sledges are pretty good at clearing chaff, and but the mobile beacon would have gone around it if it weren't for the oil. Even with the oil, we get through. We talked about Blue Hair having the Melter available, so the Melter is his answer to the Wraith. And now you've got Melter plus Hacker work together really, really well. Able to hack through all of those units super quickly. Off and running. He's also added... this Phoenix is from mz.Philomatiko. Very similar to what we saw before, right? If you remember, Blonde Liver asked me to drop the Phoenix first-person view, and we saw Blue Hair in exactly this build as his response to this. I mean, it was almost exact, right? Yeah, even down to the placements, pretty similar. Where he has the Vulcans, where he has the hackers. I think one hacker was. mz.philomatiko adds a level 2 Sandworm. As Blue Hair has the Rhino, he knows there is no Rhino drop from mz.philomatiko. Now he's playing this one super aggro. He also knows he's got a Wasp call-in coming. So, wait a minute. I was expecting the fangs back here, buddy. Are you just going to missile out? Okay. So he's missiling to defend the 2 towers from the Wasp call-in. mz.philomatiko has switched. I mean, we're in Steel Ball push over here. Now we're in Worm Wasp on the other side. So it's turned into Worm Wasp, or Worm Wraith Wasp. We studied that in detail in our last Tuesday teaching session. So if you are interested in how this build works, we really dove into it in a lot of detail. That one. Idea there, so the Sandworm add to it is you throw down armor. If there are Mustangs, you throw down Sandstorm and it reduces everybody's range. But right now, they're just a surprise. They're big and tanky. They're difficult for the melting points to. And Philomatiko adds the Wasp Swarm in the corner. We know it's going to get missiled out. Most of it goes down to the missile. But here come the worms. Pop, surprise, attack. He has taken Sudden Strike, which is the new tech. He hasn't equipped it yet. Also mobile beaconed the key Steel Balls and Wraith over from the other side, so that got the Wraith. The Wraith managed to escape the melting point there. And everything gets to this side, takes the tower. And now we're working from right to left. Steel Ball gets to tower. Steel Ball gets to melter. Steel Ball gets to Vulcan. And here's part of why this build works so well. The worms survive the round, and they are 800 hit points of damage. So we talked about mz.philomatiko in trouble for the long game. Now he's trying to finish this out quickly, and one of the ways you finish a game out quickly is to have giants on the board. That was kind of the piece that this aggro was missing, was doing the hit point damage to the bar. Sure, Blue Hair tries the melter on this side when you're already into this the unit. We have the unlock for free. We're going to try it. It's an Amp Core melter, so it's almost a level... I mean, it's level 1.5. And it's going to have energy absorption. So if we can get it to lock onto a Sandworm, it can actually out DPS it. And if it can out DPS it, it'll out heal. But mz.philomatiko changes up the mobile beacon direction, going from right to left this time instead of from left to right. As part of the skill value of running the aggro is you've really got to be able to identify where are the unprotected routes, where is my opponent not expecting me to hit. So you've got this group. He also sold out of that Steel Ball. Instead, we're going to drop Lightning Storm on top of this tower. Steel Balls were getting hacked pretty easily. They were pretty useful on this run, but now he's expecting Blue Hair to have that blocked. But you can see that route is very blocked up with chaff, right? But this route is not. We've also got one on the flank. Again, Blue Hair's answers to Wasps are Wasps with aerial spec. They're going to get the job done here especially. And they were well positioned to cover this mobile beacon for the Wasps. Good work. The new strengthened melter is on the wrong side. We get the tower debuff. Get through, get some giants. Yum, 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 yum. Sandworm happy. Sandworm is also an absorption module Sandworm. Remember we sold that off of the other side. So if it gets into this fight, we will have the... We'd have that absorption happening.
It was also creating, doing replicate. Each time they emerge from the ground, it creates a larva. That has been buffed. The larvae are now the same hit points as... Oh, this is so painful for Blue Hair. That might be game defining because he's so tightly packed. You can hit both 2 units at the same thing. Now, his out for this is to level both, if they go up to level 4. Philomatiko, it has Blue Hair down to 77 hit points, on the verge of completing the Cinderella run to a title, so close to earning the very first medal in the game. Nobody will ever be able to take that away from you. Medals are now permanent. Blue Hair did take Best Partner, as we're adding another Wasp on the outside. So maybe he's expecting this group to be mobile beaconed back this way again. That mobile beacon is still headed out to this tower. We've also thrown down the Orbital Javelin. Blue Hair has plenty of levels available. He knows the Orbital Javelin is out there. So if he levels these two, they will both survive. But they'll be on low hit points when the worms get there. He also hasn't cut this this angle off. So you might see a mass recruit with some kind of chaff in there just to slow things down. Tough to slow these worms down, though. mz.Philomatiko, I love this foil with the mobile beacon past it. Missiles, probably not, because you're not missiling out the worms. But you can, and because so much of what he throws down is fire, so most of the chaff dies. He's got the wasps all but answered. So, like, what would a missile have killed yet, right? Missile, if he had it positioned perfectly to pop up and hit one of these guys, maybe. But here you can see the worms get in, they get the tower, and now they're going to be fighting the melter. Blue Hair didn't level these two, so the javelin are tremendous value for mz.Philomatiko. It was a risk, right, because there was a defense for it. Here's the sandworm replicate larva showing up. They are distracting the melter while the sandworms get the job done, but now you can see that melter has healed all the way back to full. They got the lock on the big blue worm, and 2588 to 77. Blue Hair has stabilized for a moment. Nano Repair for Blue Hair. Nano Repair would be very, very strong for mz.Philomatiko as well. But yeah, some kind of EMP to turn off the melters would suck, is the key add here. We don't have EMP on the wasps. We could conceivably deliver it with the storms. Storms were the traditional... Storm EMP was the traditional answer to Melter back before anti-missile was so strong. Phoenix also running EMP, so both of those are possibilities for mz.Philomatiko. And remember, although it looks like mz.Philomatiko still has Blue Hair on the edge here, Blue Hair has enough to actually win outright if all of the giants were to survive. So, worrisome. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 giants would be 4,000 hit points. So both players in knockout range. mz.Philomatiko came within 77 hit points of winning the tournament. Has Blue Hair turned it around? Blue Hair's blocked the oil. mz.Philomatiko has not. Oh no, the wasps are coming in with a flank summoning. There's a missile that was high value for Blue Hair because it allowed the wasps to be instantly engaged. There was another pack of wasps over here, also got destroyed. The wasps in a lot of trouble. And now you're going to have the Blue Hair controlling the skies, Blue Hair destroying the wasps, the worms, And blue hair wins outright on round 9. mz.Philomatiko, legendary run, Cinderella story, came within 77 hit points of defeating one of the all-time greats, take the first ever medal, and win Weekend Tournament Asia number 69. But in the end, blue hair prevails. 2,300 MMR player, 286 right now. This was amazing. The every part of this build worked well for blue hair over time. A couple of really key decisions. The hackers stopped the steel balls for so long, but then as soon as the steel balls are sold, he sold out of them. As soon as this is turned into an air war with wasps and wraiths, it's not super valuable. So he sold out of those to convert the monies elsewhere. The wasps wanted also this missile, which ensured that these wasps were able to engage these guys before they had paid the summoning price, and winning down here with the back placement wasps as well. These are new, and they countered this. I think there's also a mz.Philomatiko threw 600 resources at least onto the flanks and lost time in summoning sickness. This late in the round, in the game, I think you just want those on the board, right? So if those wasps are here behind the wraiths, they're not dying instantly. They get involved in the fight, and they're not paying the summoning sickness. Like, these guys died before they even came in. They did 408 hit points. These guys managed to do 2,500 because they had summoned in last round. These guys did nothing at all, right? Because they're the first targets to go down. So, like, that's a lot of resources invested in a flank this late in the game, in my opinion. I've made that mistake recently, which is why it stands out to me. And again, this is one of those where one decision, it is such a chess match. One decision could have turned this either way. If there's some decision at, round 6 could have changed, could have done 100 more hit points to the bar, mz.Philomatiko wins it, right? Or some decision that blue hair made that saved him 100 hit points, won it for him. So keys there used the hackers to stop the steel ball push, used the incendiary bomb to stop the Mustang portion of it. You can see the Mustangs are almost useless by this point of the game, and mz.Philomatiko has sold out of almost all of them. Storms survived this last group even with the fire. These storms did nothing. They're a little too close. They were nicely positioned to attack the tower early on, but they're too close for the late game. A little bit further back would have been safer, where you get a little bit more value for them later. And then the Melters, using Incendiary to delete the Mustangs, also brought in Best Partner. We don't really get to see the stats on the Best Partner marksman, but they do get involved. Even if they are only dealing a little bit, they're still getting some single targets off the board. However that works. And the energy absorption on melting points, it used to be that range was always your first choice, but against worms, you don't need the range. They're going to come right to you. You need something that keeps you alive. And there was that round where I think it was this melter locked onto the two worms sequentially, and had it just by getting the lock first, it was able to ramp up because laser damage ramps up over time, and kind of exponential growth. It can get to a very strong level. It does cap. It's not like it goes to infinity. It goes to a level and then it is and doesn't grow beyond that. But if it's grown sufficiently, you can out DPS the opponent unit, and that's what happened here. We wound up with energy absorption against the energy absorption sandworm, but we had out DPS it by that point. So what a comeback from blue hair. Wins Weekend Tournament 69 and the first medal in the game. Congratulations, blue hair. You are the champion.
Math is Might, your runner-up. The Green Mountains Smile Upon Me is 4th. We have I Am the Master 4th. I'm sorry, Green Mountain was 3rd. I Am the Master is 4th. mz.philomatiko. This is unfortunate. As a consequence of the way that minor points work, dropped from 1st going into the final, or 2nd going into the final, down to 5th by losing the final. Still had a tremendous run, beat Woot, Dionys, Jota, the runner-up in the tournament, and Rat, before losing to Blue Hair. It was an epic run, mz.philomatiko. You deserve better than 5th for that. Zemp 6th, Steelsane 7th, Rat finished out, got to 8th, Salt Monkey 9th, Shiroha 10th. We will show the further finishers, 11 through 20 and 21 through 30. For those who are getting your name in lights, congratulations. Amazing tournament. Thank you all for being here with me. Appreciate it. And I'm going to say ciao for now. We're not going to stay on. We will be back to cast a weekend tournament 69 European, weekend tournament 69 Americas later in the day. But for now, thank you for watching, and we will raid you over to somebody. I'm going to put up our thank you to everybody. Thanks to the mods, thanks to our sponsors, and of course, always thank you to Kiddo. And thanks to each of you, the viewers. Without you, we would not be here. All the subscribers, appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for watching.